ما كانوا مهتدين.
MashaAllah, your reading is good. Just, I think we couldn't, your voice is cutting out a little bit. Might be your microphone. But anyway, um, um, if I start with the tafsir of these ayats, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, إن الذين كفروا. Okay? إن الذين, you know, inna is for tawqid, to make, to emphasize. الذين, those كفروا, who disbelieved. Okay? سواء عليهم, it's the same for them. أأنذرتهم, أنذر or إنذار. Okay, this is the present. أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم, or if you do not warn, if you warn them or if you do not warn them, لا يؤمنون, they will not believe. Okay, so the Shaykh said in this ayah, إن الذين جحدوا, those who denied ما أنزل إليك, what has been revealed to you, من ربك, from your Lord. Why did they disbelieve? استكبارا وطغيانا, out of arrogance and transgressing, they wanted to cross the limits. لن يقع منهم الإيمان, you will never find Iman coming from them. سواء, whether أخوفتهم, if you make them afraid, وحذرتهم, and you warn them, أيها الرسول, O messenger, if you warn them, من عذاب الله, from the punishment of Allah, أم تركت ذلك, or if you leave that, لإصرارهم على باطلهم, because they will continue on their falsehood. So whether you tell them and warn them, or whether you don't, they will always remain on disbelief. Allah is talking about some group of people who are going to die in disbelief. That's the first group. They're destined to go to hellfire because they have arrogance and they will never believe. And you can show them every single miracle in the world. Okay. The next ayah is ختم الله, Allah has put a seal over their hearts. Okay. وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. طبع الله على قلوب هؤلاء. Allah has put, ختم means to put a seal. Allah has put a seal or covering over their hearts. هؤلاء, over those, over their hearts, the hearts of those people. وعلى سمعهم, and on their hearing. وجعل على أبصارهم, and He's put on their eyesight غطاء, which is a covering, and here it says غشاوة. Why? بسبب كفرهم, because of their disbelief. وعنادهم, and their arrogance. من بعد ما تبين, after it became clear to them. لهم الحق, after the truth came clear to them, they still don't want to believe. Okay, so they rejected the truth, so Allah made them lose the insight of seeing the truth. They can't see the truth, and they can't, the truth is not going to reach them because they have this covering. So that's like Allah has blocked their path to receiving the good as well, although it came from their own actions. فَلَمْ يُوَفِّقْهُمْ لِلْهُدَى, Allah did not give them the tawfiq, the ability to practice it. Why? Because since they turned around and turned away from it, they were also prevented from guidance. It's like, you know, they're the ones who it's a consequence of their actions. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ شَدِيد, and they will have a severe punishment فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمْ, in hellfire. Where's this punishment going to be? Is going to be in hellfire. They might not be punished in this world, but they will definitely be punished in the next life. Okay, are you guys with me?
Yeah.
So Allah said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and from people, okay, فَرِيقٌ, a group, يَتَرَدَّدْ مُتَحَيِّرًا, there's a group which are doubtful. Okay, they are in between. مُتَحَيِّر, and they are confused. بَيْنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, they're between the believers, وَالْكَافِرِينَ, and the kafirs. Who are they? Who are they? Okay, they are the munafiqun, they're the hypocrites. So first ayah, Allah talks about the disbelievers. You can tell them everything. They will die as kafir, those who are destined to go to hellfire. And you can show them everything, but they will never believe, because nothing is going to go into their hearts. One sheikh said it's like, you know, when a person commits sins, yeah, and disbelief, and it's like the heart becomes like, my hand, as you can see my hand here. He says like that. The fingers is like when he commits a sin, he commits a sin, he commits a sin, and it becomes completely closed, so nothing can go in. It's like, imagine his heart is there, nothing can go in. Okay, so Allah would not let them open it again. You know how Fir'aun, he wanted to believe just before he died. Allah said no, it's too late. So it's like that. Even when they're on their deathbed, the angel of death comes to them. They want to believe, but they can't, because Allah's already closed their hearts, because they didn't want to take the chance. Okay, so there's another group who are in the middle, who are the hypocrites. وهم المنافقون, they are the munafiqun. الذين يقولون, they say بألسنتهم. Okay, so it says ومن الناس, from people, من يقول, they say آمنا بالله. Allah said from people, but we know it's the kafirs. Yeah, I mean the munafiqun. وهم they say with their tongues صدقنا بالله, we believe in Allah, وباليوم الآخر, but their lives they never believed. وهم في باطنهم, and inside كاذبون, their lies. لم يؤمنوا, they never believed. Okay, so the hypocrites, they show something and they have something else inside. Okay, if I continue, Allah said في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا. Okay, يعتقدون بجهلهم, they believe out of their ignorance. أنهم يخادعون الله, that they can trick Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe. Because a person who's a hypocrite, he wants to trick people and make people believe he's a believer, but he's not. بِإِظْهَارِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ, by showing iman. وَإِضْمَارِهِمْ الْكُفْرِ, and hiding disbelief. وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ, they only trick themselves. Why? Because at the end, who's going to lose? They are. لأن عاقبة خداعهم, okay, the consequences of trying to trick others, تعود عليهم, it comes back to them. ومن فرض ومن فرض جهلهم لا يحسون بذلك, and out of their ignorance, okay, the extreme ignorance, they are not able to even feel that other people know that they're hypocrites. لفساد قلوبهم, because their hearts are corrupt. Okay, the Sheikh is doing the adhan, the muadhin. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
So here Allah said في قلوبهم مرض. Where did that illness came from? That came from because they basically hypocrisy is illness in the heart as well, anyway, and it's a consequence of it's a consequence of the sins they commit. And okay, and also the illness they have in the heart, the Sheikh's gonna tell us. I'll just let the adhan finish. Okay, khair, I'll continue. So the Sheikh said, في قلوبهم شك. So Allah says they have an illness in their heart. What is this illness? They have doubt, وفساد, and corruption. فابتلوا بالمعاصي الموجبة. They were tested with sins that was a consequence, will be a consequence لعقوبتهم, which will be a consequence for their punishment. عقوبة is punishment. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ شَكًّا. Allah increased them in doubt. So they had doubt, and then their doubt increased when they showed hypocrisy. وَلَهُمْ عُقُوبَةٌ مُوجِعَةٌ. They would have a punishment which is severe. بِسَبَبِ كَذْبِهِمْ وَنِفَاقِهِمْ. Because of their lying and their hypocrisy. Okay, the next ayah where it says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ. What is said to them, believe, what do they say? Is here the Shaykh says, وَإِذَا نُصُحُوا. If they were given advice, لِيَكُفُّوا عَنِ الْإِفْسَادِ. To stop the corruption on earth. فِي الْأَرْضِ بِالْكُفْرِ وَالْمَعَاصِي. To stop the corruption, which is the disbelief and the sins. وإفشاء أسرار المؤمنين. And to tell the secrets of the believers. وموالاة الكفار. And to help support the kafirs against them. They will be قالوا. They would say كذبا وجدالا. Lying and arguing. إنما نحن أهل الإصلاح. We are only people who are trying to fix things, but they're not. Okay, they're not. They're liars. So that's why Allah says, ألا إنهم هم المفسدون. They are the ones whom ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون. They are the ones who are actually causing corruption, but they don't know. Okay. Here also is إن الذين يفعلونه ويزعمون أنه إصلاح وعين الفساد. Those who do this and think that they are fixing something, they're actually causing corruption. لكنهم بسبب جهلهم. But because of their ignorance وعنادهم and their arrogance لا يحسون. They don't even realize that they're the ones causing corruption. Some people think they're fixing something, but they're causing more problems. And that's exactly what they're doing. وإذا قيل للمنافقين. If it's said to the munafiqeen, آمنوا, believe, مثل إيمان الصحابة, like the companions believed, which is وهو الإيمان بالقلب, to believe in the heart, واللسان, to say the iman with your tongue, والجوارح, to act on it, to have proper iman. جادلوا وقالوا. They argue and they say, أنصدق مثل التصديق ضعاف العقل والرأي. Should we believe like the ones, ضعاف is weak, plural of weak, the ones who have weak logic, weak minds and logic, okay, and opinions. They have they're saying that the companions don't have strong logic, or they don't have intellect. They're saying they're foolish. Yeah. فنكون نحن وهم في السفه سواء. So we and them will be same in foolishness. So they're saying we're not going to believe like them because we'll end up being foolish. And it's always like that. All the prophets, they were told that you have foolish people believing in you, so we're not going to follow you. فَرَدَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. So Allah replied and refuted them and said, بِأَنَّ السَّفَهَ مَقْصُورٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. That foolishness is actually confined to them. They are the foolish ones. وَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ مَا فِيهِ أَنَّهُمْ فِيهِ هُوَ الْإِضْلَالُ وَالْخُسْرَانِ. But they don't realize, but what they're in is misguidance and loss. هؤلاء المنافقون إذا قابلوا المؤمنين قالوا صدقنا بالإسلام مثلكم. These munafiqs, when they meet the believers, they said, we believe Islam like you guys. وإذا انصرفوا وذهبوا إلى زعمائهم الكفرة. And when they go and they leave and they go to the leaders, the kuffar leaders, المتمردين, that are really deep in kufr على الله, making lies about Allah, أكدوا لهم أنهم على ملة الكفر لم يتركوها. They may confirm and they tell them that we have not left our disbelief, we're just tricking them and we're still working for you. وإنما كانوا يستخفون بالمؤمنين ويسخرون منهم. They're doing that to take the mick out of the believers and cause them problems. They're taking the mick out of them and belittling them. But Allah says, Allah yastahzi'u bihim. Allah is going to mock them, and وَيُمْهِلُهُمْ, and He will give them time. لِيَزْدَادُوا ضَلَالًا وَحِيرَةً وَتَرَدُّدًا. So they can increase misguidance and confusion and going forth and back, in this confusion. وَيُجَازِيهِمْ عَلَى اسْتِهْزَائِهِمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And He will reward them, punish them, recompense them for their taking mock of the believers. أُولَٰئِكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ بَاعُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. They sold their souls في صفقة خسارة, in a handshake, which is, or in a transaction which is a loss. So they lost themselves, and they wasted their lives, and they wasted the opportunities to go to Jannah. It's a bad transaction basically. فأخذوا الكفر, they took disbelief, وتركوا الإيمان, and they left Iman. فما كسبوا شيئا, at the end they ended up with nothing. بل خسروا الهداية, they lost guidance. وهذا هو الخسران المبين, and this is the great loss. Okay, so in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about three groups. The first group were the disbelievers. Sorry, two groups. The first group were the disbelievers, that they would never believe, they're going to die in kufr. Okay. The next group, and Allah talked about them a lot, they're the hypocrites, because they're more dangerous. That's why hypocrites going to hellfire, the lowest level of hellfire, because they cause more problems on earth. Okay. They cause more corruptions, because if you can see an enemy, you know he's an enemy, or you know he's a person, he's an enemy, that's fine. But if an enemy comes in disguise and he comes into the battlefield, and then he acts like one of the soldiers, then he's going to kill the others, isn't he? So it's like that. So person who's out in the open and clear about his beliefs, you know where he stands. But if you don't know a hypocrite's a hypocrite, and then you start taking from him, you're learning from him, or people start to copy them, or people who leave Islam, they act like they're still Muslims, but they do that to confuse Muslims. Sometimes they're wearing hijab, sometimes they're not, sometimes. So these people are more dangerous, okay, than the non-Muslim, because you know he's a non-Muslim, you're not going to take from him. Or you'd only take from him what relates to the dunya, finance, or whatever. But when you see a Muslim, you might be impressed by him, and he says he became Muslim, or she became Muslim. One day she's got the hijab on, one day she doesn't. And then, it could be a way to make Muslims confused. So Allah is warning us in these ayats that we should be afraid to become like these people. Allah talks about them even more to show us how dangerous it is. Hypocrisy is dangerous, and everybody should be afraid. But at the end of the day, if you're following the Quran and Sunnah and you have strong Iman, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep you on the right path. Wallahu alam. Any questions? Sorry, I always have to go through quickly.
No.
Okay, so it's more or less like a brief tafsir, but inshallah we'll continue next week, and try to go over the words as well. Like some of the words, you should be able to go over them. Okay, like for example, qulub, plural of qalb. Marad means sickness. Most is vocabulary you've learnt as well. Okay, any questions? Anything you want to say? Also, I think they just done the iqama, but I'm gonna go now. I'll put the certificates in there for you. I think, yeah, for because Aisha, you joined us late. I'll give you a certificate for Kitab al-Kabair as well, inshallah. But they did book 6 and 7, which was actually the diploma course. So anyway, if you have any questions, you can always type it for me, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. And I'll see you next week, inshallah.
Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Alaikum salam.